manipulative sister-in-law deceived us all, lied about her finances, and cut ties with us after refusing to lend our mother-in-law $10. My sister-in-law, SIL, has cut all ties with me and hubby, telling us that she wants nothing to do with us ever again because their mother, MIL, asked her for $10 and we had the audacity to side with Mill when Sil refused. Sounds petty? It is. Sounds simple? Not exactly. For context, this story doesn't occur in the US. This is all happening in the Caribbean, so for those confused by the use of the term mummy, which I think is such a cute cultural debate so far here, it's totally normal for grown adults to call their parents mummy and daddy out of respect. It's also the reason for certain healthcare, car, and labor oddities. A lot of us in my country still haven't not recovered from the pandemic because the tourism industry is only just reopening in full force, and that's the industry 70% of the working population relied on. Hubby has 3 siblings. Brother number 1, Bill 1, will watch you drown to save some rope. Brother number 2, Bill 2, is the sweetest, but a bit naive. And Sil? Oh, boy. I don't have anything to compare her to, but I think the title should hint at how bad she is. FYI, Sil is the baby of the family and the only girl. She was spoilt rotten before their parents split up, and things only got worse once the separation became permanent. Sil would play parent against parent and throw her brothers under the bus regularly. Hubby and I watched Sil's behavior get more and more toxic as she grew into an adult, but there was no talking to Mill or Phil. Both parents felt guilty about the fact that, of the siblings, Sil was the one to grow up in the broken home, so they excused every tantrum, every snarky remark, and every selfish act. Once when she was 12, Sil stole a pair of my sexy panties from the dryer. Hubby and I lived in the same duplex as Mill for a while. I actually thought the panties had been sacrificed to the dryer instead of a sock that cycle. That was until a month later. I saw Sil throw the panties into our kitchen through the open back door. When I went over to their apartment to ask Sil why she stole the panties, Mill got upset at me and told hubby to make me apologize to Sil for accusing her of something I saw her do with my own eyes. Sil had the family wrapped around her little finger. Fast forward to 2020. All the siblings were in their early to late 20s. Bill 1, Bill 2, and Sil decided to remain living with Mill because she only had them pay $200 each a month for rent, utilities, and groceries. Mill still felt guilty about breaking up the family, so she sacrificed her freedom and needs to take responsibility for more than half the monthly expenses while her kids partied the land down. I mean, they literally partied the land down. One summer, Mill couldn't even afford shoes for work, but Sil went on a week's vacation abroad. But something else happened in 2020, right? Enter the pandemic. Mill was laid off permanently from her job, so she looked to her adult children for financial support until she could find a new job. I emphasize adult because, at some point in our lives, children will have to help their parents. We just had to start a bit earlier, but it wasn't going to be for the rest of Mill's life just yet. The 4 siblings just had to hold down the fort until Mill found a new job. Simple. Well, Bill 1 wasn't pleased, but he's reasonable once you get him to sit down and listen to sense. Bill 2 rolled with the punches. Sil, however? After 5 months, Sil moved out to live with her boyfriend without warning. All Sil said as she packed her things was, "I'm too young to take care of you, mummy. I have my own life to live." Never mind her Bill 1, Bill 2, and hubby were all chipping in equally. Apparently, Sil had been carrying the load all by herself, and she just had enough. She was so tired that Sil left her dog for Mill to take care of with no money. We were all eachless. Not only had Sil been living with Mill for almost 2 years paying practically nothing, but Mill called in a favor with a friend to get Sil a job right out of high school. Sil didn't even have to apply. What's worse, Mill, with the help of me and hubby, bought Sil a car with no expectation of ever being repaid, and you better believe Sil never offered to pay us back either. Without Mill's help, Sil would have had nothing, but Sil left Mill up shit creek without a paddle, and Mill lost her apartment. While hubby and his family have learned to take Sil's abuse with a stups and an eye roll, her boyfriend was no such sucker. Sil's boyfriend dumped her after a year, the saint. I'm surprised he held on that long, and told Sil to scram. And guess who she came bawling back to? Mill. And guess who took her in without a peep? Mill. I was disgusted. Because Sil had abandoned the family, Bill 1 had moved in with his girlfriend, and Bill 2 had been forced to find an apartment and take Mill in. Yet there Sil was, sleeping on Bill 2's couch. But I'm only the dill. I can't tell a mother how to handle her child. I tell hubby my thoughts, of course, but he's such a softie. He and Mill helped Sil find her own apartment, since Bill 2 couldn't accommodate Sil long term, and when she gets evicted after a year for being a brat to her landlord all the time, Mill and hubby helped Sil find another apartment. I even gave Sil $700 from my personal savings so that she could pay the deposit on the place. Now we're finally getting to the real story. So, we loaned Sil the $700 in the summer of 2022 with the expectation that she pay me back at least $100 a month. The operative word is expectation, but the reality was that Sil didn't pay us back at all. Every month, she had an excuse for hubby as to why she couldn't pay us the increments. Oh, I had to buy a new battery for my car. Oh, I had to go to the doctor, and it was so expensive. Oh, I had to buy a new battery for my car. Wait, didn't I say that? What about the battery already? Yep, Sil actually used that excuse twice. I had already resigned myself to the cold reality that I'd never get that $700 back. We're not well off by any means, hubby and I, but we're not stingy. If the family needs help, we help, but rarely do we receive any thanks or compensation. I've grown used to it, so when Sil slunked on paying us back, I didn't make a fuss. Yes, I knew she was splurging money on Shine every week and $20 lunches every day that she would flaunt in front of Mill, who was still without a job 2 years later because the economy got so bad, but what could I do? I was more upset that Sil would actually leave work every day to eat her $20 sushi bento box at Mill's place without ever offering Mill a bite, let alone a plate. But this is how the $10 debacle started. Mill was still living with Bill too, and Bill too was getting tired. See, even though the three brothers were equally supporting Mill until she got her life together again, Bill too had to live with her. That meant his social and romantic life had come to a halt. Not to mention he was responsible for Mill's pets and Sil's dog. Bill too had the added pressure of paying for extra utility use and the responsibility of transporting Mill and the pets around. Notice, I never said anything about Sil helping out. Well, that's because, in Sil's mind, she provided a different kind of support. Every purple moon, Sil would let Mill crash on her couch. No, she didn't let Mill live with her. She'd essentially invite Mill over for a sleepover every once in a while. Then the next day, Sil would ship Mill back to Bill 2's place. Never mind, Bill 2 was already taking care of Sil's dog. Never mind, Bill 2 already supported Mill financially and kept a roof over Mill's head. But the sad thing is that Mill adored her sleepovers with Sil. She looked forward to the mother-daughter time, even though we all knew that time was spent at home on the couch watching Netflix. Bill 2 wasn't pleased with the favoritism. Anyway, Mill was at Sil's apartment for one of the rare sleepovers, and she was strapped for cash. She needed toothpaste and dog food for the critters. So, Mill asked Sil for $10. Hubby and I found out because half an hour later, hubby got this phone call. Sil, hubby / something's gotta give with mummy. Hubby, what? Is mummy being stubborn about something? Sil, no. I just can't deal with her asking for money anymore. Hubby, okay, first of all, that's not what that expression means. Secondly, what do you mean? You don't support mummy financially. We boys do. Sil, excuse me? I do a lot for mummy, okay. Hubby, okay, whatever you say. What happened? Sil, honestly, hubby / I'm done. I can't deal with this anymore. Mummy's gonna break me. Hubby, really, Sil? $10 is gonna break you? Sil doesn't take too kindly to this retort, so she proceeds to list the following excuses as to why she doesn't have $10 to give to Mill, followed by hubby's rejoinders. Sil, I have a car loan to pay. Hubby, no you don't. We helped mummy buy the car for you in full. Sil, I have car insurance to pay each month. Hubby, since when does anyone pay car insurance monthly? That's an annual fee. Sil, well, I have utilities to pay. Hubby, no you don't. Your rent is all inclusive. Sil, not Netflix. I had to pay my Netflix bill, you know. You had to pay for Netflix? Are you fucking serious? That's your excuse? At this point, hubby has had enough, but he knows Sil by now. If he rails on her like he wants to, she'll shut down. So, being a good big brother, he offers advice instead. Hubby, okay, Sil. It seems like you're having trouble budgeting your money. Mill isn't wrong for asking for $10 Sil, but I need gas in my car. Hubby, listen, I get it. You don't have $10, rolls eyes, but the issue is that you never seem to have money when the family needs you, but you seem to be able to find money for frivolous things like bento box lunches and Shine orders. Sil, what I do with my fucking money is my fucking business. Hubby, calm down. I'm just saying that you need to manage your money better. So, how much is your weekly salary? Silence. Hubby repeats the question. Sil finally answers very quietly. Like for something. Hubby, you mean like $450? Sil, yes. Hubby pulls out the old Excel budget file we've been using for years. He sets up a budget for Sil. Then he asks her how much money she has left for the coming week. Sil, not enough to give mummy $10. Hubby, please stop being belligerent. And this was the straw that breaks Sil's back. Sil pops off. She won't stand for this treatment. Hubby has no right to make Sil feel bad for not giving Mill $10. If Sil says she doesn't have $10, she doesn't have $10. Why is everyone always so mean to her? Why is everyone always attacking Sil? After all Sil does for Mill, no one respects her. Sil lets Mill sleep on her couch. Sil lets Mill use her Netflix. Hubby, oh, bravo. You let mummy sleep on your couch and soak up the internet your landlord pays for. Thanks to you, mummy doesn't have to sleep on the street tonight. Sil, you know what? Maybe she fucking should. I'm not the mother. I have my own money and my own life to live. If I want to buy fucking sushi every day for lunch, I should be able to. Hubby, yeah, you can afford to eat sushi every day, but you haven't paid Op back a single cent of the $700 she loaned you in the summer for the roof over your head. Sil, you know what? Fuck you, fuck Op, and fuck Mummy. I'm done with this family. Then she hangs up. People, within 2 minutes I get a notification from my bank. Remember how Sil had so many expenses and couldn't afford to pay us back that $700? Remember how she had so many bills that month that she couldn't give Mill $10? Well, Raskla, Sil sent me the full $700. She had it the entire time. She'd simply decided for months that she wasn't going to rush to pay it back. Hell, she probably thought she'd never pay it back at all. But that's not the worst of it. Mill calls. She wants to know what happened. Sil called her minutes before to tell Mill that she'd transferred $50 into Mill's account, and that would be the last $50 Mill was ever going to get from Sil. Sil then told Mill to have a nice life and to never contact her again. By damn. Of course, hubby is furious. The scheming brat had been cheating all of us. She'd taken the entire family for a ride. He tries to call Sil to reprimand her for being so evil to Mill, but guess what? Sil has blocked hubby everywhere. Mill and hubby talk about the situation. After all this, hubby is still concerned about Sil's well-being. Hubby tells Mill about the budget he'd worked on for Sil to help her. If she's only making $450 a week, Sil needs to be more careful with her money. Mill, $450? Sil doesn't make $450 a week. She makes $650. Reddit, I literally fell to the floor. This bitch. Sil lied to hubby about her weekly salary just to get out of giving Mill $10 fucking dollars. At this point, Mill realizes Sil doesn't care about anyone but herself. It hurts because Sil is Mill's only daughter, but Mill agrees with hubby that this behavior can't be accepted. Hubby makes a pact with Mill to go no contact with Sil since Sil believes that she doesn't need her family. So then tell me why Bill 2 calls us a week later to tell us that Mill is babysitting Sil's new dog. You heard me. New dog. Not the dog Bill 2 is taking care of. Sil got a new dog, and the moment Mill saw Sil's name on her phone screen, she took the call. This was about 4 months ago now, and Sil and Mill seemed to be right as rain with each other. Even though Sil said point blank that Mill should sleep on the street, Mill accepted see her back with no request for an apology. As for us? Sil still has hubby blocked on all platforms. I guess we're the bad guys after all. How dare we call Sil out on her shit and make her feel bad for not giving Mill $10, right? Update 1. It has only been 9 months since hubby and I last spoke to Sil, which was when she blocked him after he told her she was an asshole for not lending their mother $10. It has been amazingly quiet and drama-free. Read about that shit here. Mill has found a great job and started legitimate therapy. Her whole life has turned around, and she has her own apartment and car again, and even friends. Mill and Phil finally finalized their divorce, and Phil seems to have gotten Sil in the split. Mill has little to no contact with Sil other than monthly check-ins via text. It's not what Mill wanted, but her therapist says it's for the best until Sil figures her shit out. Bill 2 has his space back to himself, and he's thriving in a better job. Hubby has finally learned to distance himself from his family's problems, so we've been enjoying the peace. I may return with some of the drama that we've re-witnessed secondhand, but that drama does not affect us nor are we personally investing our time or emotions into them. They're just karmically hilarious. Oop, Mill has both dogs, and they're doing well. Sil has a new dog that she adopted from her cousin just to show how kind she is. She seems to treat it well, but she has to or her cousin checks in on the pup from time to time. Update 2. Listen, karma is sweet. Sweeter than a triple chocolate cake with a side of ice cream. And today's batch of karma is diabetes inducing. Sil has returned, and she wants to move in with the very mother she scorned last November. For those of you keeping up, you know that in November of last year, Sil and dearest hubby had a falling out. Sil went no contact with us because she didn't want to give her mother $10. You can read that story here. Sil also went no contact with the rest of her siblings and her own mother. Eventually, she reopened communication with Mill and Bill too, but she never unblocked hubby. That's fine, life is easier without her. Her selfishness and bad money management were more burdensome than her company was worth. On a good day, I'd rather cuddle a man-sized porcupine with halitosis than speak with her. But life has been good to Mill since November 2022. She finally got divorced from my tween-dicked Phil. She found a great therapist, landed a good job that she enjoys, and made some friends. In June, Mill found herself a good apartment for her and the dogs. Mill has been doing so well that she just recently bought herself a car. My girl has even re-entered the dating pool. She has a date on Saturday. In my country, we have a saying that you're probably familiar with: they don't love me, they only know me when they need me. If you ever had any doubts about the legitimacy of that adage, let me introduce to you my fucking Sil. This Thursday, Bill 2 pulled me aside at Mill's new place to tell me a funny story. Bill 2 got a call from Sil. Below is a dramatization of that phone call. Bill 2, so you unblocked me. What you want? Sil, talk to mummy for me, eh? She being stink right now. Bill 2, talk to her about what? Sil, I need to move in with her. Things tough, and I need some time to catch myself. But mummy said no. So, apparently, when Sil saw Mill's new apartment, which she did not help Mill move into, Sil realized that she had something to gain. From what she told Bill too, Sil can no longer afford her rent. She's behind on bills and can barely afford to take care of her new dog. Yes, Sil took several vacations over the last 2 years, and, yes, she did just come back from one such trip, but those vacations were necessary for her mental and emotional well-being. However, now her bills are overwhelming her. Sil thinks that moving into her mother's new apartment will give her the opportunity to fix her financial situation. But Mill turned Sil down. The space is too small. Sil, talk to her for me, Bill too. We're family. We're supposed to help each other. Bill too, blood boiling, but sympathetic. How about I lend you some money for rent this month, and we'll talk too, hubby, about what you could do. Sil, I don't need to be paying rent right now. I just don't got it. Realization kicks in Bill too. So, how you gonna move in with mummy if you can't pay rent? Sil, why you think I need to move in with her? I can't pay any bills. Yes, y'all. Sil wants to move in with Mill and live rent and bill free. Indefinitely. After this yeast infection denied her mother $10 for dog food, and after she took back her TV, and after slandering her entire family's names across town, Sil wants Mill to take her in free of charge. And Mill said no, bitch. That was 2 weeks ago, and Mill isn't budging. Meanwhile, Bill too, hubby, and I have been smiling smugly from the sidelines. You reap what you sow. Now on to second story. Ex-fiancée cheated on me years ago, now she's back and trying to push us to get married again, despite my refusal and her higher income. My ex-fiancée cheated on me when she went to USA for her MD 5 years ago. We live in India. Then she stated the reason that I wasn't earning enough and the person she found is much more compatible with her. We were engaged at the moment we both met through our common family friend as to get married. Arranged marriages in India is a lot more common than a lot of other countries, so we nearly dated and knew each other for a year before she went to USA for her MD. As I mentioned earlier, I am a government employee, IPS, in my state I do earn a good amount of money according to Indian standards. So when she broke up the engagement and we knew the reason why, her family was in a pretty bad position as cheating is treated really harsh here, and a lot of rumors about me and my family also started, but we made it through. So for the current situation, my ex-fiancée came back from the US after completing her MD in 2021. I don't know exactly when. After that again she went radio silent, and in January of 2023 she out of nowhere started to message me asking how I was and other small details. I didn't want any drama, so I just out with her in a civil manner and thought nothing of it. Then she started to call too, which was weird. She told me that she was sorry for that she cheated, and I genuinely thought she wanted forgiveness, so be it. I also didn't want it to hold a grudge. Then she came to my bungalow. I still don't know how she got THR address. We government officials are allotted bungalow by the government. She came and started the talk by how her time in USA was the greatest and all. Then suddenly she proposed of us getting married again. I refused as she had cheated already, and since then she has been pushing for it. Her family as well as the common family which introduced her and me are forcing us now, and how that was just a mistake. Same thing is happening with my extended family. My parents and sister understand that cheating is a big problem and aren't forcing me. So I am pretty sure I am not going back. But why did she came back? She will make like 4 times my money and maybe 4 or my years. Update 1. Hello everyone, it has been quite a week for me now. I'll start from where I left. I followed few advices from here and talked about this with her parents as well as her, and they seemed to unlock it, or I thought everything was fine for a month or so. Then one day I was invited to a party from her side. It was an invitation for her engagement, and my parents as well as few of my relatives persuaded me to just go in that as it was outside my state, so I took an official leave. Was not easy to get as Ips handles a lot of stuff, and went with my family and relatives. I was happy that she moved on, but it was pretty quickly I thought, and when we arrived there I made small talk with her and all. I asked who was the lucky guy. She just said I wasn't allowed to know, and all. I thought it was just a tease. 2 days passed, and the day of her engagement when I arrived at the venue, behold, I was the one. It was quite the shock for me, and the worst thing of all, my parents were involved this time. I thought they supported me, but salty I was incorrect. Seems I was in awe. What could I do? And her parents, literally not gonna lie, literally just wanted to bribe me into marrying her. They said, we bought an apartment for both of you, and if you want we'll put this in your name, and in the wedding we will be giving an SUV and cash, as an Indian wedding dowry is just too fucking common and I am against it. Okay, let's continue now. I was just like, wow, it's like a fucking movie, and everyone, literally everyone, was she is beautiful and she is a doctor, what else you want in her? And then the blame shifted towards me as why won't I just marry her? She did a mistake and want to amend herself, and I won't accept her because of my male ego, as she earns more than me and shit stooped so low that even my parents were on her side. Now my sister wasn't invited as she was really with me and against her, and a shit ton of things happened. I am writing this on my day off when I can write. Haven't talked to literally anyone since except my sister. Feeling really fucked up now. What should I do? Please give advice, please. Oop. Thank you for your advice. I might try to contact her and say the same things you all taught me, and might even show her this post and see what happen. Best wishes, smile. Update 2. Hello Reddit, it's been a while since I last posted here. I have been nearly at the edge of a psychotic breakdown in the last 3 months and has been visiting a psychiatrist and not in a really good environment. So for the real update, after the stunt pulled previously, I didn't talk to my parents for nearly a whole month as I missed them. I went to visit them, and after a bit of small talk I told them I was disappointed that now even they were supporting her. They just shrugged and said I was being a big baby as I was so older now and they wanted grandchildren now. I was pretty sad after listening that they just told marriages are about sacrifices and blah blah blah. I was just listening to them and I got ahead of myself and asked if mom cheated on dad would he take her back. I would say I got ahead of myself and received a tight slap on my face. I just stood up and left, and after I returned to my bungalow you started receiving calls from them. I just ignored it, fought the day. After nearly 2 weeks my papa came to talk and we talked for a long time and he said he understood but said she didn't cheat on me technically as we weren't married and we shouldn't judge her on her past actions and people change, and it just went back and forth for a long time and nothing productive, and he just left after that. During this time I was in contact with my sister and nothing much, but 4 months ago I received kind of an ultimatum that either I get married to her or find someone else quickly, but they would still prefer her, and the only person who was with me, my sister, was now kinda on her side too. Why? You ask? Because she was gifted a holeless car by her and she now was a great person, and now literally everyone has now told me either I marry or go my way and not to talk to them every. I don't want to be alone, please help.